Makes you get real excited, and if you can't play football today, then you better get in another line of work.
We'll become spectators along with the rest of you and listen to the public address man as he introduces the Buffalo Bills.
Starting for Buffalo on offense at wide receiver from Stanford, number 80, James Lofton. At left tackle from Vanderbilt, number 69, Will Wolford. The left guard from North Carolina State, number 51, Jim Richard. The center from Mississippi State, number 67, Kent Hull. At right guard from Penn State, number 59, Mitch Farrat. The right tackle from Alabama A&M, number 75, Howard Ballard. The tight end from Jacksonville State, number 84, Keith McKellar. At wide receiver from Kutztown State, number 83, Andre Reed. At quarterback from the University of Miami, number 12, Jim Kelly.
O.J. Simpson, Will McDonough, Bill Parcells, and I will see you at halftime. But up next, Dick Enberg and Bill Walsh have the call of the Bills and the Broncos, the AFC Championship from Rich Stadium, after these messages.
They're the heart and mind of the Denver Broncos. John Elway, the quarterback, architect of high drama. Dan Reeves, offspring of the winning tradition in Dallas, where he played and coached, and now the stern taskmaster in Denver. In their 9 years together, Reeves and Elway have authored 3 AFC championships, and they've commiserated in the failures of 3 Super Bowl losses. Who can imagine what passions drive these two who have savored victory and swallowed defeat? Do they fear defeat may be their legacy? After humiliating Super Bowl losses, last season's Broncos fell to last place in a near total collapse. How improbable, then, is their rebound this season, and how impressive the courage and resolve they showed last week in Denver when Elway rallied the Broncos to a last-second win. What nightmares visit Buffalo Scott Norwood, whose one missed kick is the lingering image of Super Bowl 25. He's lived for 12 months with the pain of that memory. But with the support of his teammates, he's aiming today at another AFC championship. What disappointment haunts Thurman Thomas, who had earned the title of Super Bowl MVP, but saw that award and the championship sail wide right. Thomas has proved his all-pro worth in virtually every game since, leading the Bills to the threshold of a Super Bowl return. Elway and Reeves, Norwood and Thomas, all driven to exorcise Super Bowl demons, each yearning for the opportunity that could soothe the hurt of past disappointments. That opportunity is today. The winner plays for another chance to be Super Bowl champion.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the AFC Championship, the Denver Broncos versus the Buffalo Bills.
An unseasonable January day.
In comebacks 19 times in his career. A remarkable number when you consider the success factor that Denver has had over the years. They criticize Elway for not winning the Super Bowl, but he got him there several times.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We talk about that great class of 1983. Not one of those quarterbacks drafted in the first round has won a Super Bowl. And the 2 quarterbacks today, Kelly and Elway, obviously have both lost Super Bowls. They want another chance to redeem themselves in that class.
Bill Dudley, who played for both the Redskins and Lions, will be the honorary captain for Washington. And now, will it be Buffalo or Denver with the ball first?
As the visiting team, you will make the call.
Out of because his defense didn't play well.
That's Dale Hamer, who...
Tail, head, tail.
Dale Hamer, the referee.
Heads is the call. Tail. It is a tail. Buffalo, take the ball. Turn around, please.
In his 14th year in the league, Dale Hamer signals it'll be Buffalo with that.
As a player, forgetting about the living conditions, and he said the first year he got caught up in wearing the undergarments and so on under his uniform, stayed close to the heater during. Just about ready to go for this 1992 AFC Championship game. The winner goes to Super Bowl 26 in 2 weeks in Minneapolis. There were beach balls in the stands today. The obvious mockery, the mockery. It's not as cold as it normally would be. And they may have to hold the ball for Treadwell because the wind is knocking it off the tee.
Well, Marv Levy, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, was saying before the game that the big thing about playing here is he really believes this crowd is a tremendous advantage for this Buffalo Bills team. That this team really feeds off the energy of this crowd.
So they're going to have to hold it for David Treadwell off the tee, and we are ready to go. The 92 AFC Championship game. It is Al Edwards at the 5. Straight up the field to the 20, to the 25, looking to get outside and knocked down at the 29-yard line by Randy Robbins, who was the holder on that kickoff by David Treadwell. A 24-yard return for Al Edwards, and we are ready with Buffalo's starting line. Jim Kelly in his 6th year for Miami. He'll have Kent Hall in front of him in his 6th year for Mississippi State. Mitch Farad at right guard in place of the injured Glenn Parker. Jim Richer, the left guard. The tackles, Will Wolford and Howard Ballard. Thurman Thomas, the one setback in a passing formation, swings it out to the left, and the pass is overthrown, intended for James Lofton. Lofton, Andre Reed, as a tandem as good as you'll find in the NFL. Keith McKellar, an integral part of the Buffalo offense at tight end.
Yeah, McKellar caught 5 passes last week and 44 before that, so he's a guy that can take a lot of pressure off their outside receivers.
Kelly ready to go on 2nd down. Back to throw. Down he goes. Simon Fletcher got to him. Fletcher has been struggling of late. After a terrific year, we had 13.5 sacks. He makes the QB sack on Jim Kelly back at the 21-yard line.
Simon Fletcher is the best pass rusher in the NFL that you haven't heard of. Really, this guy has been doing it for 3 years. Simon Fletcher put a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
It's a loss of 8. It's 3rd and 18. They go to the inside handoff to Thurman Thomas. He slips as he tries to cut and goes down after a yard gain. So Buffalo, an ineffective first series. Warren Powers knocks down Thurman Thomas, and the Bills will have to punt it away.
And I think that was a telling defensive series for the Denver Broncos, quite honestly, because Buffalo has been so good this year on their opening series. They've come out and put points on the boards most of the time of their opening drives, with the Denver defense in this first series did a remarkable job of forcing a punt.
Chris Moore to punt it away to Vance Johnson, who stands back at the 30. This wind will have an effect on this punt. It's a swirling wind. Moore was shanking about every other punt during practice, and he drives this one upfield. It gets caught up in the wind. Vance Johnson at the 32, to the 35, to the outside of the 40-yard line, and dives forward to the 45. Return knocked down by Pete Metzelaars, and the Denver Broncos with excellent field position after a 45-yard punt. Let's quickly set up the Denver offense. The key today, Keith Karts, their starting center, will not start. Dave Weidel, in place of Karts, is out with a pulled thigh muscle at center. Sean Farrell and Doug Weidel, Dave's brother, at right guard. Ken Lanier and Jeff Davidson, the tackles. Michael Young out wide to the left side. Mark Jackson was activated today, a wide receiver. He's lined up on the slot to the left. And they go straight ahead to Gaston Green, off right tackle for about 2, maybe 3. Brought down by Shane Conlon. Clarence Kay, the starting tight end for the Broncos. And I mentioned Vance Johnson, Mark Jackson, the wide receivers. Michael Young. Here's the defense for Buffalo quickly. Seals, Wright, and Smith up front. Talley, Bailey, Conlon, and Bennett, the linebackers. Kirby Jackson and Nate Odoms, the corners, and Mark Kelso and Leonard Smith, the safeties.
Howard, you and I were talking about it, but Gaston Green probably has to be the great trade of the year in the NFL for the Denver Broncos. Rushed for over 1,000 yards and made the Pro Bowl.
Derek Russell's in as a wide receiver now to the left side. The noise factor is a factor. 2nd down and 7 for Denver. At their own 48-yard line, Elway back to throw. Looking with a lot of time. Dumps it out to the right. It's complete to about the 40-yard line to Shannon Sharp. A gain of 12 on the play. And the tackle made by Leon Seals.
Wonderful protection that time for John Elway. I mean, he had about 4 seconds to find his receiver. He first looked deep downfield. I think it was for Vance Johnson. Nothing there. He came back to his backup tight end, Shannon Sharp, who's been a very dependable receiver this year for John Elway. He picked up the first down to the tight end, Sharp.
2 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Gaston Green, the one set back behind Elway. There's a fumble. Elway falls on it as flags go down.
Hey, Jeff Wright, the nose tackle for the Bills, got off very quickly. He may have been encroached, I guess they call it these days.
That dreaded encroachment.
And I hate that encroachment.
So wait for Dale Hamer to give us the signal.
No. He called it on the Broncos.
Legal motion may be the call, and we may get encroachment. We could have a multitude of sins.
Come on, Dale.
Don't start. On the center. Double jerk on the snap. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
The dreaded double jerk.
Yes, that's that was an insult, I think.
The double clutch by the center. And you mentioned it. New center in today because Keith Karch, the starter, is out.
The job of the center is so underrated and so important. Dave Wydell in his 4th year out of Boston College, alongside his brother Doug. Elway, play fake, rolling right, slips out of Leonard Smith's grasp, throwing it on the run, and the pass is incomplete. A diving attempt by number 82, Vance Johnson, and it will set up 2nd down. Leonard Smith had a hand in Elway's face, and he got away from him.
Boy, did Leonard Smith have a shot at a big loss for John Elway. Now, Leonard Smith is a strong safety. He lined up on the right side so John Elway could see him. As Elway rolled around, Leonard Smith just took a poor angle. Elway, with his mobility, was made Leonard Smith miss, and then threw a ball back across his body. It was incomplete, but a remarkable move again by Elway.
Steve Sewell is in the game now, and he has the option passability. It's a 2nd and 15. Usually he's a 3rd down player. He gets the inside handoff, spins off one, and goes down at the 40-yard line after a 5-yard gain. Carlton Bailey was there for Buffalo. Stay tuned at the end of the game. We'll tell you about the Chunky Big Play, sponsored by Campbell's Chunky, the Big Soup.
I mean, psychologically, I think this is a very big down here for the Denver Broncos. It's 3rd and, 9, maybe 10 yards. They're on the 40-yard line. If they can gain 5 or 6 yards, they have a legitimate shot at a field goal and going up on top. They're heavy underdogs on these Broncos. I think any type of score here would give them a tremendous emotional lift.
Cliff Hicks and James Williams in the secondary now for the Bills. It's 3rd down and 10. Buffalo showing blitz. Elway out of a shotgun formation. Listen to this noise. Back to throw. Elway over the middle. The ball is tipped and intercepted and dropped.
Should have been.
Mark Kelso had it in his hand and he dropped it. And it will bring up a 4th down.
Well, it was Bruce Smith or one of the inside defensive linemen who tipped the pass Elway, and it should have been easily picked off by Mark Kelso, the free safety, who was only the only one even close to the football. I guess it's one of those opportunities that slip away from you. No, it was actually a blitzing outside linebacker, Cliff Hicks, one of the corners.
Well, Hicks is back at the 10 to await Mike Horan's punt. He'll get it away at midfield. His lefty punt goes to the far sideline, and it angles over to the out-of-bounds pylon. Where it went out is the key, and that is the major question. Kirby Jackson arguing it went out, and the referee keeps walking up the field, and he seemed indecisive.
They never know. They never know on those kind of punts. This broadcast is presented by authority of the National Football League and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the National Football League.
Here's the defense quickly for Denver. Warren Powers and Ron Holmes, the ends. Greg Cragen, the nose tackle. Linebackers, the AFC Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Mike Kroll. Michael Brooks, Carl Mecklenburg, and Simon Fletcher, who has already registered a sack. The corners are Tyrone Braxton, Wyman Henderson back after a sprained knee. They will be tested. Steve Atwater and Dennis Smith as a tandem may be as good a safety combination as you'll find in the league. Kelly hands off to Thurman Thomas straight ahead. He's tripped up as he crosses the 15-yard line by Mike Kroll.
Well, you know, you mentioned those two safeties, Atwater and Smith, and I would argue that they are definitely the best safeties. Right down the middle of this defense is the best part of this defense. The nose tackle, Cragen, Mecklenburg in the inside, and then the two safeties.
Second down and 7 for the Buffalo Bills. The blitz is on. Thurman Thomas runs into the blitzer. Coming through from the right side. We'll just have to check the number. It looked like it was Greg Cragen who made the hit, but he had help from an outside linebacker. Might have been Kroll who was blitzing on the play.
No, it was actually Carl Mecklenburg on the inside. He's a great blitzer, and what that means for a linebacker is he's got wonderful timing, and he takes very good angles to the ball.
And take chances. Back to throw. Kelly out to the right. The pass is incomplete. Well, that was a tough pass to throw. It was intended for Beebe.
You know, and Beebe, if he doesn't get his hand up and knock that ball away, Charles Dimry picks that ball off and perhaps scores. So there's where a wide receiver can really help. If you can't get it, make sure the defender doesn't. He ran an out route. The ball was thrown behind him, but he knocks it down. Otherwise, Dimry of the Denver Broncos picks it off and scores.
Got a lot of pressure. Dennis Smith was blitzing on the play, the strong safety. Moore is back to punt it away to Michael Young. Or Vance Johnson. We'll have to double check. I believe it was it's Vance Johnson. Moore takes the snap from center. Drives it upfield. Waiting under it is Johnson at the 36, running to the left side of the 40-yard line. Back he goes to the right to the 45 and brought down at the 49.
Tackled by Ray Bentley.
Tackled by Ray Bentley for Buffalo. And the Denver Broncos, after a 46
time on many of these stations, the National Football Conference Championship game. Jack Buck and Hank Stram from Washington. The Redskins will host the Detroit Lions for the right to meet the winner of this game. That is going to be a very good football game, I believe, Howard.
I think both of these games will turn out a lot closer than people thought. So the Broncos, listening to the 80,000 plus, with a great field position at their own 49. First down, Elway. The delay to Green. No, sir. Cornelius Bennett was right in his helmet. Drops him for a 5-yard loss at the 46-yard line.
You know, Cornelius Bennett has had a lot of acclaim as he, his last 6 years, even when he came out of the University of Alabama. And I think this is his best season. He's done virtually everything because he's had to do a lot more because of the injuries to Bruce Smith and Jeff Wright. And when those guys were injured for a lot of the year, Cornelius Bennett really picked up the slack. They asked him to stop the run, to rush the passer, and do a lot of things, intercept the ball, and he did all those things.
Derek Russell to the right, Vance Johnson to the left. Second down and 14. Elway, play fake, setting it up, throwing it down the left-hand sideline. It's through the hands of Shannon Sharp, the tight end. He had an opening in the seam, but the ball was overthrown.
Boy, did he have an opening in the seam, Shannon Sharp. Boy, that time Cornelius Bennett was double-teamed, and he got drilled, took one right underneath the chin by a guard who came back and double-teamed him. But meanwhile, Shannon Sharp, the tight end on the left side, ran a corner route, and down about the 30-yard line, he was open by a good 6 yards. The ball was just thrown too high.
Now Buffalo's defense clamping down on Denver after great field position. Now it's 3rd and 14. Bills looking like they're coming after Elway. Back to pass, dumps it out to the left. The screen pass to Sewell. He's to the 50, to the 45, and hit from behind inside the 35-yard line by Leonard Smith. Otherwise, Steve Sewell is going to score a touchdown.
Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator for the Broncos, is right next door. He sent that play, next booth from us up here in Rich Stadium. He sent that screen play in, and it turned out perfectly against the blitz of the Buffalo Bills. They had 3 guys blitzing. Shanahan sends in the screen pass. He catches it. And Leonard Smith, give Leonard Smith some credit. He was on the blitz, but he hustles back and makes a tackle. Otherwise, Sewell maybe scores.
It's a 20-yard gain. First down for Denver at the 34 of Buffalo. A serious scoring threat here for Elway and company. Hands off to Gaston Green and runs right into 56. Darryl Talley makes the hit immediately.
The thing about Gaston Green, he will give you a lot of 2-yard runs. He'll go 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, and then he'll give you 30. So you have to be patient with Gaston because he's going to give you a lot of short runs and maybe some negative plays, but then he might give you a 60-yard touchdown run.
3 carries for Green for minus 2 yards. That speaks well for the Buffalo defense. I mean, they seem like to have the Denver playbook in their defensive huddle.
Well, Elway has had receivers open, but both defensive teams have blitzed virtually every down.
Ricky Nattiel's in the game as a wide receiver to the right side. Second down and 11. The delay to Green, trying to go outside. He won't get there because Darryl Talley is right there shattering Gaston Green. Leon Seals was there.
Leon Seals, the left defensive end, just refused, and I mean absolutely refused, to be blocked by Ken Lanier, the offensive right tackle of the Denver Broncos. He pushed Ken Lanier back right in the face of the running back and then makes the stop. So great defensive play there by Leon Seals.
So it's a loss of 5, 3rd and 16 for Denver. They started the drive at their own 49, got up to the Buffalo 33. It's back at the Buffalo 40. Elway out of a shotgun formation. Takes the snap, goes back to pass, rolls to his right. Setting it up to his left. Has a lot of time. Still looking for a receiver to get open, and he's sacked. Jeff Wright brings him down inside the 50. That is a coverage sack.
Oh, boy, was it. Because John Elway had, what, 4 or 5 seconds to throw that ball? And Vance Johnson, the wide receiver, is complaining that he was held by Leonard Smith. But that is just superb coverage by the Bills, because Elway rolled to his right, away from Bruce Smith, and held the ball for a good 5, 6 seconds, still couldn't find anybody, and finally Jeff Wright makes the sack.
They got inside the Buffalo 35. The ball now back at the original line of scrimmage, the 49. Aranda punted away to Clifford Hicks. Good snap from center. Aranda drives it downfield, a short kick. Takes a forward Denver roll, and then backward roll, a spin back outside the 20, and finally touched by Denver at about the 23-yard line. That's not much of a punt, and they got an advantageous bounce. Buffalo did. Randy Robbins down to that 28-yard punt.
This is radio.
It was 23 years ago today, January the 12th, 69. Joe Namath led the Jets to the win over. I was in my barracks in Tripoli, Libya, listening on Armed Forces Radio.
Is that right? That was probably
the Super Bowl.
That was probably the most important. Here we are at the AFC Championship game, but in AFC or AFL history, that was probably the most significant win ever for them.
Jim Kelly brings the Bills to the line of scrimmage, the 24-yard line. Denver has held Buffalo in check thus far, and vice versa. Thurman Thomas slowed up at the line of scrimmage, gets a lot of nothing. Gets 3 or 4 yards out of a lot of nothing is what it seemed to be.
Well, the thing about Thurman Thomas, and we saw him last week, is he always makes the first guy miss. So you've got to have at least 2, 3 guys prepared to make the tackle on Thurman Thomas, or he's going to pick up 5, 6 yards.
About a 3.5-yard game. We'll call it 2nd down and 6, and Kelly back to throw, tipped in the air, and the ball is intercepted, I believe, by Denver at the 29-yard line. It was tipped in the air.
Ron Holmes tipped it, I believe, and Greg Cragen, the nose tackle, made the interception.
So right now the crowd has gotten very silent. The game's first turnover, it goes to Denver.
We expected an offensive shootout. What we got is some very good defense by both teams, quite honestly, because this is the 3rd series for the Denver Broncos. Once in the 45, once in the 40 down, and now after the turnover, they're on the 29-yard line of the Buffalo Bills.
They've had 3 possessions. All 3 have gone from very good field position. 45, 49.
As reported as an eligible receiver. 54.
Well, the eligible receiver for the Denver Broncos would be Keith Traylor, who was a lineman, and he'll be an eligible receiver. They had it at the 45, the 49, and now the Buffalo 29-yard line following the interception. Traylor is the blocking back for Gaston Green right in front of him in an I formation. Ricky Nattiel in motion. They go to Green running left side to about the 26. He runs into Cornelius Bennett. Boy, but Bennett has had a great year. And one thing that had bothered him last week, in speaking to him before the game, was the fact that they spent so much attention devoted to the likes of Bruce Smith and his injuries and so on. So nobody forget about me.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of year he's had. He's had to raise his level of play up because of all the injuries to Jeff Wright and to Bruce Smith, and he's done that.
Gain of 3, 2nd down and 7. With 5.5 to play in the first quarter, there's no score. Denver threatening. Elway under a rush, slips out of a tackle and goes down for a loss. Back at the 30-yard line, Cornelius Bennett. Right here, let's pause. 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network.
You're listening to the NFL playoffs on WQRA-FM, Warrenton, Culpeper, Sunny 94.3.
With Pat Hayden, I'm Howard David here at the AFC Championship game at Buffalo's Rich Stadium. Elway has just been sacked for a 4-yard loss. It's 3rd down and 11 for Denver at the 30 of Buffalo.
Elway's been sacked right now. What he can't do on this down is get the sack here to take him out of field goal range. This is a defensive game right now. You need to squeeze at least 3 out of it.
Gaston Green, the one set back. Elway under a rush, throws it out of the backfield, incomplete, and Gaston Green took a brutal hit by Darryl Talley. And Bruce Smith urging the crowd on.
And he's the one, Bruce Smith, that put a tremendous rush on John Elway. I am really surprised at the defense we have seen thus far in this football game. Both teams have played superb defense and with very good pass rushers. That time was Bruce Smith. The Bills have chosen to blitz a lot, as the Broncos have, but that time was just Bruce Smith forcing Elway to get rid of the ball before he wanted.
So Kubiak to Hall. This will be a 47-yard field goal by David Treadwell. Placement is down. The kick is away. It looks to be wide to the left. No good. And there's a flag on the play, so hold on. This may have an impact on this field goal miss by Treadwell. Apparently it's against Denver. It's holding against the Broncos, obviously refused by the Buffalo Bills.
Holding, number 88 on the offense. Penalty is declined. First down. Timeout.
The holding on Clarence Kay, the tight end of Denver. There's still no score. We have 4:41 to go, first quarter. Let's take had big wins over the weekend in international competition. American team is loaded. Speed skating team is very good. Should be a fun trip. Meanwhile, this fun defensive battle, a handoff to Thurman Thomas running right. There's a flag on the play as Thurman Thomas goes down after a 1-yard loss in the hands of Carl Mecklenburg. There's a flag on the play. Buffalo walking back. Apparently they think it's against them. And Dale Hammer will tell us for sure.
We have 2 fouls on the play, both against the offense. Holding, number 59 is declined. Holding, number 51 is accepted. 10 yards, still first down.
Well, the 59 is Mitch Farrat, who's playing at right guard in place of the injured Glenn Parker. Parker out with a knee injury sustained last week in the win over Kansas City.
And the 51 is Jim Richard. How do you think he feels? The other holding gets declined, his gets called.
This probably was a middle child.
That's bad luck.
So it's 1st and 20 for Buffalo at their own 20-yard line. Kelly goes back to pass, pumping the ball, throws it out to the right, complete. Lofton across the 30-yard line and takes a double sandwich shot from Charles Dimry and Michael Brooks.
You're right, that was a double sandwich shot. Have you noticed just the level, I think, of hitting goes up a couple of notches when you get into a championship game. And boy, James Lofton took a couple of shots there on the right side.
It's an 11-yard gain, 2nd down and 9 for the Bills at their own 31. Thomas now in a passing formation takes the delay across the 35 and brought down at about the 37-yard line by Mecklenburg and Brooks, and will bring up 3rd down at about 3. And Denver has to make rapid adjustments defensively with Buffalo running the no huddle.
3rd and 3. This has been Thurman Thomas's down all year long, both as a receiver where he caught 62 passes and as a running back where he rushed for over 1,400 yards. Whoops.
Kelly trying to take him off. It was right movement. I think right tackle Howard Ballard might have been moving on the play.
Boy. False start. Prior to the snap. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
It is Howard Ballard, the right tackle, in his 4th year from Alabama A&M.
You know, some herky-jerky offense, really, by both teams, and I think it's for a combination of reasons. The pressure of the game, you know, the winner gets to the Super Bowl, and that means so much. And we've seen some very good defensive plays by both teams. A lot of blitzing, a lot of penetration on defense.
These teams haven't met since September 30th of 1990. Back to passes Kelly over the middle. The pass is caught by the tight end McKellers at the 40-yard line, very close to a first down. Looks to be an up. Mecklenburg made the tackle there, but it might have been a step late.
Well, anytime you run a 34 defense as the Denver Broncos do, you have some room for your tight end to work right down the middle in between those 2 inside linebackers. There's a little soft spot in there. McKellar worked it on that.
He's had a career year with 44 receptions. Thurman Thomas running right, dashes to the outside and turns the corner. Out of bounds inside midfield. right on the midfield stripe, I believe. That's about a 9-yard pickup by Thurman Thomas.
He is so strong, Thurman Thomas. Again, that thing was supposed to go over the right guard, maybe the right tackle. He puts his shoulder down. One guy can't tackle him for the Broncos. He begins to bounce out to the right side, has the speed to be able to get out, and picks up, well, 9 yards.
Right at midfield, so it's Buffalo on the drive at the 50-yard line. There's no score with 2.5 to play in the first quarter. The delay to Thomas trying to get to the outside left, and he runs into Mecklenburg at the 49-yard line. Carl Mecklenburg, a 5-time Pro Bowler, including this year, had 9 sacks this season in his 9th season out of Minnesota.
And they're going to measure for the first down. But we were talking about Mecklenburg. I think, you know, if you look at him and you timed him, he wouldn't measure up to a lot of guys in the National Football League. But what he does have is that innate feel for the game. The timing on the blitz. He doesn't have great speed, but he always takes the proper angle on the blocker. It gets right to the corner of the blocker, able to make some guys miss, and he's made a career out of playing very intelligently and with good timing.
That is a first down for Buffalo. Mecklenburg was used on the defensive line last week. He went back to his linebacker spot with the return of some injured players for Denver defensively, notably Wyman Henderson, a right cornerback. Their corners were picked apart by Warren Moon last week. Henderson didn't play much. Charles Dimry was toasted several times during that game. And surprisingly, Denver came back and won the game after trailing 14-0. It's 1st and 10 for Buffalo at the 49. It's Thomas straight ahead. Not much. Correction, Kenneth Davis is in for Thurman Thomas. That's no gain on the play.
Well, Greg Cragen and Carl Mecklenburg inside have really done a fine job here in this first half. I mean, Cragen, the nose tackle, Carl Mecklenburg, the inside linebacker. They have forced Thurman Thomas to bounce everything outside. Davis now stays in the game as Kelly goes back to throw, dumps it out to Davis, setting up a screen to the left. Slowed up at the 45 and goes down at about the 43. Mecklenburg makes the hit on the play. Play looked like it was going to go for more than it eventually did. Yeah, give Mecklenburg some credit. Here's a guy who in the play before stuffs Thurman Thomas on an inside run, but then has the ability, desire, whatever you want to say, to get outside to the boundary to take down a back. Kenneth Davis in the open field on a screen play. Al Edwards to the right side. Don Beebe to the left side. Davis stays in the game as the one running back. 3rd down play. Kelly back over the middle. It's deflected and almost caught by an offensive lineman. It was deflected by the Denver Broncos, Ray Cragen, and then almost picked off. Well, one of the offensive linemen of I believe it was Mitch Farrat that almost came up with the tip ball. So it will bring up a 4th down, and Chris Moore will come in to punt it away for Buffalo. Buffalo has not had any attempts to score thus far. Denver has missed a 47-yard field goal try by David Treadwell. Vance Johnson is deep for the Broncos. They've had 3 drives that started in great field position. This one may not work out as well. As we're in the last minute of the first quarter, high snap from center. Moore pulls it down and drives it straight up in the air. Wind catches hold of it and drives it back. It hits a Buffalo lineman and finally down to the 24-yard line. Boy, you could just see it hang up in the wind, and it drove it back towards the punter, Chris Moore. It'll be 1st and 10 Denver. Well, he's trying to pooch it, inside the 20, and punters have different techniques. When they're trying to get more distance, they'll try to turn the nose over. When they're trying to get it to bounce back, the nose comes up, but he only gets a 19-yard punt on that pooch. That pooch bit him in the leg. You like that alliteration, the pooch punt, yeah. So Denver has had 3 great field position beginning drives. This one not as good at the 24. James Lofton apparently shaken up on the last series. Elway now back to throw. Instead hands it off to Gaston Green into the secondary across the 40 and nearly broke it for a lot more had not Leonard Smith come up to make a saving tackle with help from Mark Kelso at the 42-yard line. Remember we were saying about Gaston Green just a few minutes ago, and you said he had -2 yards. Well, that's the kind of runner he is. He's going to take some losses. He's not a strong runner, but he is quick, and if you give him a little bit of crease, he's going to give you 30, 40 yards. He's had 3 runs over 40 yards this season for the Broncos. Picks up 18 on the play. Ricky Nattiel wide to the right. Vance Johnson to the left. Gaston Green, the featured back, and Elway back to throw out to the left. The pass is caught by Vance Johnson inside the 50-yard line. At about the 48, Nate Odoms ushered him to the sidelines.
And looks to be enough for another Denver first down inside Buffalo territory with 4 seconds remaining in the first quarter. There's still no score.
Well, thus far in the game, John Elway, when he has thrown the ball, he has tried to throw the ball mostly to his tight end, Shannon Sharp. That time, Vance Johnson lined up as a left wide receiver, just ran a little out route, and it was like pitch and catch like you do in high school. So he was wide open. It was an easy completion.
Apparently that catch was inbounds, and that will draw the end of the first quarter with no score. Right here, let's pause for this word.
How big is
We begin the second quarter here at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. A magnificent day. Usually in Buffalo you'd see a lot of snow blowing all over the place, high winds. There's a lot of snow. They trucked in, I think, just for the effect.
The appearances. No, it is absolutely perfect out there right now. Very little wind, it looks like.
Denver had the ball for over 10 minutes in the first quarter. Elway on the delay to Gaston Green straight ahead inside the 45 to about the 44. Bruce Smith, the right defensive end of the Buffalo Bills, diagnosed by some as about 80% healthy. He's had the problems, of course, with the knee surgery early this year, and he's not anywhere near Bruce Smith capability, but still a factor.
Yeah, well, playing on this AstroTurf too will really take its toll on an injured ear. This stuff is just dreadful to play on, and I think they practice on it. I think they have to practice on it as well.
Gain of 3, second down and 7 for the Broncos in the 44 of Buffalo. Elway hands off to Green and runs right in to the Buffalo defense at the line of scrimmage. Shane Conlon was there to knock him down immediately for no gain on the play.
We said at the very beginning of the broadcast, the key for Denver was to be able to run the football. They've tried to do that. They've been very, very patient. They've kept it a close game. It's 0-0 right now with 14 minutes remaining in the first half. Kind of what they wanted to do. Now they're in a position on a 3rd and 7 where they're going to have to get something out of their passing game. And Steve Sewell out of the backfield has been a featured receiver.
Well, he goes in the slot to the right alongside of Elway. 2 receivers on either side. 3rd down play. Elway back, throws it over the middle. It hits his receiver for a first down at the 37-yard line. James Williams was there to make the hit on Vance Johnson or Michael Young. Michael Young.
First down.
And Michael Young is one of those dependable types. You know, the kind of guy you like to throw the ball to on 3rd down, but then he'll fool you with his speed. Michael Young's had 44 catches on the year, and he's had some big plays upfield, some long plays. But last week in the Houston game, he caught that 1 4th down pass early in that 97-yard drive for Denver.
1st and 10 for the Broncos at the 37 of Buffalo. Elway play fake, wants it all deep down the right side, looking for Johnson, and the pass is intercepted at the 2-yard line by Kirby Jackson.
Intercepted by Kirby.
The pass was underthrown. Keep in mind, Elway's throwing into a wind. That pass hung up a little bit, and Jackson, with great position inside, makes the pick.
Boy, you just hate throwing interceptions on 1st down in scoring territory. Boy.
So 13 minutes to play.
You're right, but Elway, the ball was underthrown because he had to throw it off his back foot.
It's 13 minutes to go in the second quarter. There's no score. Let's take time out.
It's grind, causing 70 to 80% of all engine wear in the first.
It comes out. It comes out.
Definitely.
It comes out. And I'm sure they'll look at it.
With an interception, the play is being reviewed.
So if it is overruled, that would bring up a 4th down in punting position for Denver. Actually, they might rather have this interception. The ball's on the 2-yard line. You're not going to kick it much better than that.
Your engine wears less and lasts long.
Might help Buffalo more than Denver. Kirby Jackson, meanwhile, celebrating, however briefly, his 3rd interception of the playoffs.
After further review, we have a reversal. The pass was incomplete. Still 1st down at work.
They'll get another chance. Excellent coverage. He just couldn't hold on to the ball. It was too much to ask. He had to twist his body all the way around and catch a football.
Fuel economy suffers after a cold start. After you start your car, get moving immediately. Finally, remember these 5 keys to maximum mileage. Inspect, clean, adjust, alter, and repair. The Car Care Quiz, brought to you by Slick 50.
Well, Kirby Jackson's interception was reviewed, and there was a reversal. He did not have possession of the ball as it hit the ground, and so Denver gets a big break. They'll have the ball again at the Buffalo 36.
Yeah, that was first down, wasn't it, when he threw it? And they've got fourth down over there.
Yeah, well, the near sideline mark. I mean, they seem to be confused as to what down it is. It should be second down.
Should be second down, but on the replay in our booth, it was clearly not a catch. The ball hit the ground. Kirby Jackson did not pick it off. And John Elway will regroup here on second down when his team is in scoring territory.
Certainly Dan Reeves and his coaching staff are aware of down and distance, etc., and they'll probably just make them aware of the fact it should be second down.
No, it is third down. Well, we got one marker that says second and one marker that says third.
Split the difference.
2.5. I thought he threw that on first down, quite honestly. I thought it was right after a first down. I thought this should be second down.
That was a first down. I'll have to double check with our statistician, John Butera, who says it was a second down play.
We have to review for the placement of the ball.
It was a second down play. This is third down. Should be third down. Well, Dan Reeves, I'm pretty sure, is in tune with what it should be, and I believe it is a third down play coming up with the incompletion.
Well, once again, Denver with a heavy rush that Elway is
6-yard line.
And indeed, I was correct again, Howard.
We've gone through a whole season with me. No, I always trust you. I trust you implicitly. I even trust you a lot.
Thank you. Jeez, I love it when you use adverbs.
That was an adverb? Thank you.
No, implicitly.
Second down for Denver. Now that we've got that sorted away, the reversal. Dale Hamer is not on the field. He just come to the near side to talk to the replay booth upstairs to get an actual count of where the ball should be placed down. It should be about the 36-yard line of Buffalo.
Here's what John Elway has to think about, though. Regardless of what down it is, this crowd is really going to get into it on this snap. So this is a snap you can't try to audible on. You can't try any kind of trick play, I don't believe, because if the crowd noise is going to be extremely obnoxious for John Elway.
Last week when Elway brought Denver back to the win over Houston, that was labeled by many across the nation as Drive 2, with Drive 1 being the win over Cleveland in '86 in the championship game in Cleveland. But Dan Reeves said last week's comeback was more impressive because he did it with no timeouts, 2:07 to play, just had the 2-minute warning to help him. Against Cleveland, if you recall, there were 5 minutes plus remaining in that game.
Second down, 10.
Second down, and all Dale Hamer had to do was call up here. You would have told him. Wasted a lot of time.
5 minutes.
Could have gotten 2 or 3 more minutes worth of spots.
Our producer Norman Barrett would have appreciated that, I know.
So it is second down and 10 for Denver, and the crowd, as you had guessed, very much into it. I think hostility reigns supreme at Rich Stadium.
You know, and I think this is where Dan Reeves over the years has been awfully impressed. And just in moments like this, thinking about plays like this, realizing that, hey, don't try to call an audible here. You're not going to be able to get it done. Run a very solid, basic play that can work against any kind of defense.
A lot of the fans think that we're the ones that told them it was second down. They're really getting mad at us. We have nothing to do with it. I think they have to know who the enemy is. Please, somebody tell them before they come in here.
And the replay booth is down a few, guys.
Well, it is second down and 10 for Denver at the 36. The rush is on. Green gets the handoff. Sewell, rather, trying to go to the outside. No place. He got back to the line of scrimmage. Leon Seals got to him. And now it will be 3rd and 10. Who's there more pressure on, Buffalo or Denver in this game? Buffalo, the heavy favorite. It would seem that they would be the team with more pressure.
Yeah, I think so, because as we've talked about before, if they lose here, it's not a successful season. They were on a campaign after the Super Bowl of a year ago to not just make it back this year, but to win it all.
2 receivers to either side. Elway out of a shotgun formation, which makes the noise factor more of a problem. He's doing it with a foot count. Takes the snap. Under a rush, steps up, swings it out to Sewell with blockers in front. Inside the 35, slowed up at the 31, and down he goes at the 31-yard line in the wraps of Leonard Smith and Mark Kelso on the Buffalo sideline. This is close enough for a field goal try, or will they go for it on 4th down?
Boy, Elway is still out here on the field, which surprised. Now, we've talked about the wind. I don't think there would be a kick against the wind, but it's not an obnoxious one. It's not a terrible wind. And looking at the flags on top of the uprights.
You know, we were down to the field before the game. That wind was a lot stronger than
this really surprises me, though, Howard. Really surprises me.
They're going to go for it on 4th and 5. And Buffalo's calling timeout.
It's a good use of a timeout, I think, by Buffalo.
Timeout.
Reggie Rivers had come in the game as an extra blocking back for Denver, and we'll get a break here. There's still no score. 12:03 to go till halftime. Let's take time.
The action and excitement.
Mike Lodich is in the game for Buffalo on the defensive line. It's a 4th down and 5 for Denver at the 31 of Buffalo. Johnson in motion to the right side with Sewell the one back, and we're going to get contact. Jeff Wright knocks over the offensive lineman for Denver. Denver is applauding it like it's going to go their way.
Coachman, number 91 of the defense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's a big penalty against Jeff Wright, 5 yards. And I believe that is enough for a 1st down for Denver.
You know, it looked like, by the way the Denver team was reacting, it was one of those plays they had designed. A long count and a change in voice inflection by Elway to draw him offside. If, in fact, that was the case, it certainly worked.
Well, we talked at the top about the experience of these two quarterbacks, Kelly and Elway. While Elway's team has come in the decided underdog, his experience in big games certainly gives Denver a little bit of an equalizing factor. The home field advantage because of the crowd goes heavily on Buffalo's side. So a 1st down now at the 26-yard line of Buffalo. Deepest penetration. Elway leaning into his offensive line people, now looking around and telling everybody what the count is. 7 on the play clock. Elway hands off to Green, straight ahead, not a lot, if at all, maybe a yard. Tops. Bruce Smith and Jeff Wright combining for the hit.
Well, you know, nose tackles don't get a lot of credit, but we're seeing some very good plays by both nose tackles. That time, Jeff Wright on the stop on Gaston Green. And for Denver, Greg Cragen has played very well for them this afternoon. And those are the kind of guys that generally just keep players off linebackers. But today, the nose tackles have been making plays themselves.
Well, Jeff Wright replaced Fred Smerlas, who was a big fan favorite here in Buffalo. 10th play coming up on this drive. Mateel in motion, delayed. Here's Elway throwing it out of the backfield to Sewell at the 20 to the near the 15-yard line. And very close to another 1st down, chased out by Carlton Bailey.
And he's got the 1st down.
It's the deepest penetration by either team as we have 11 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. Now Denver with the ball and a chance to score first. They had one chance, a field goal that was missed by Treadwell from 47 yards away. But now the ball at the 16 of Buffalo.
Well, some nice sequencing of plays for Denver. They've run some power plays. They've run outside. They've thrown the ball over the middle. And now they find themselves in 1st and 10 on the 16.
Elway hands off to Green, straight ahead near the 10-yard line, about the 11. Runs into Conlon and Bennett. That's a 5-yard pickup on 1st down for Gaston Green. Good surge by the offensive line of Denver.
Well, give Dan Reeves and his staff some credit. What they wanted to do that was obviously keep the ball out of the hands of Jim Kelly and their no-huddle offense. 10 minutes and 20 seconds remaining before halftime, no score. They've controlled the clock. Yes, they haven't got anything on the board, but now they're just knocking on the door. They didn't want to have to try to outscore them. I mean, in a high-scoring game, that's exactly what they've done.
Elway fumbles the snap. Loose ball. I believe Denver's John Elway has fallen on it, and there another bad exchange by Dave Weidel and John Elway, and that one costs them about 6 or 7 yards, which is unfortunate for Denver as they were driving deep. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network.
You're tuned to WQRA FM, Warrenton Culpeper, your Redskins station.
Along with Pat Hayden, I'm Howard David here at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. A loss of 6. It's 3rd down and 11 for Denver at the 16-yard line of the Buffalo Bills. Nobody back to block for Elway as he takes the snap, steps up, slips out of a tackle, and goes down at the 24-yard line. Cornelius Bennett and Jeff Wright combining.
Man, I want to tell you, these defensive linemen for Buffalo are having one heck of a first half. I mean, Wright and Bennett and Smith and all these guys have done a great job of just the surge. Just push the offensive lineman back in Elway's face. And as he's trying to dance around, the coverage has done a great job in the defensive backfield. They've created an awful lot of problems for John Elway.
3rd sack on Elway. Kubiak to hold for Treadwell, a 42-yard field goal. Placement is down. The kick is away, and it is no good. It hit the upright. Bills allow the penetration and then put a clamp to it. 9:11 to go, first half. There's no score. Let's take time out.
Hi, Martin Mull here for Red Roof Inns.
And I'm Fred Willard. You know, Martin, it's interesting to think what consistency means to people.
Well, to you, I suppose it's just interesting to think.
Well, of course, but look at Red Roof.
13 Pro Bowlers are on this field. 8 for the Buffalo Bills. Right now, the defenses have dominated, respectively, in this game. But Denver has had ball control. They've dominated the clock. Now Jim Kelly in the offense at their own 25-yard line. He goes back to pass with a deep drop, setting it up over the middle. The touch pass, incomplete, tipped, and nearly picked off. Lofton couldn't handle it, and it was almost intercepted by Steve Atwater, who had it in his hands. It just fell out.
Charlie Waters, the defensive backfield coach for Denver, I'm sure, is wringing his hands right now because that should have been an easy interception for Steve Atwater. Good coverage by Wyman Henderson, who ran right through James Lofton as he tried to catch the ball. Because of the big hit by the corner, the ball gets popped in the air, and the free safety should have made the play, but it didn't.
Here's the handoff to Thurman Thomas straight ahead across the 25 to about the 27-yard line.
Well, this Buffalo team just does not seem in rhythm. A week ago against Kansas City when we saw them, Howard, they were very much in rhythm. They had a couple of big plays early to Andre Reed, but because Denver has really controlled this game so much, they have not been, it doesn't seem like they have a feel for the game just yet.
It's 3rd down and 7. Kelly under center, goes back to pass to the 20, throws it out to the right, and the pass is incomplete. Looked like it was intended for Andre Reed, and good coverage by Tyrone Braxton. Actually, the ball was off mark, and again, for Buffalo, it's 3 and out.
And this is very uncharacteristic for Buffalo teams this year. They have, they led the league in offense. They have not struggled much offensively. They scored early in football games, but Wade Phillips' defensive strategy for this game has been blitz, put some pressure on them. They've had some very good coverage, and it's 0-0 ball game.
Chris Moore to punt it away to Vance Johnson. Line of scrimmage is the 28-yard line of Buffalo. Good snap from center. Moore sends the kick, a line drive kick taken on a dead run by Johnson at the 45 to the 50-yard line, and he is tackled there at the 50. And once again, for the 4th time today, Denver gets great field position at the start of a drive at midfield, a 34-yard punt. There's no score. Let's take time out. Well, Buffalo's had it for 6.5 minutes, but yet the scoreboard shows zeros for either side. Denver with the drive starting now at midfield. Steve Sewell on 1st down in the backfield as Elway goes back, dumps it over the middle screen to Sewell, inside the 40, inside the 35, to the 30, to the 25-yard line. Steve Sewell finally brought down by Mark Kelso, a 26-yard run after the dump-off pass from John Elway.
Denver runs the most innovative screens, I think, of anybody in the National Football League. This was just a center screen, and the block by Sean Farrell, the left guard, on Darrell Talley really set it up. A little dump right over the middle. The left guard Farrell blocks Talley. That allowed Steve Sewell to find a little crease and pick up a 1st down. That's a nice block.
Well, the Buffalo defensive armor has shown a few chinks today, but nothing in terms of score yet for Denver. 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 24. The blitz is on. The handoff to Sewell, and Cornelius Bennett is right there to knock him down after a 3-yard loss.
If you enjoy defensive play, Cornelius Bennett has had a heck of a first half. I mean, he has gotten off the ball. That time he ran right around Clarence Kay, the tight end, and Steve Sewell had absolutely no chance whatsoever. We've seen Cornelius Bennett rush the passer, stuff the run sideline to sideline thus far in this first half.
He's having his way with Ken Lanier, the right tackle thus far for Denver. 2nd down and 12. They go to trying to run the end around. Vance Johnson turned in the corner inside the 30, but pushed out of bounds by Cornelius Bennett. He is everywhere.
He really is. I mean, just a moment ago, Cornelius Bennett smacks Steve Sewell right in the backfield. That time he runs from the left side of the field all the way to the right boundary to stop Vance Johnson on the end around.
Bennett is 5th year from Alabama. They're just having a devil of a time trying to block him. He's moving all over the place. It's virtually impossible to find him.
Well, he doesn't stay blocked either. The thing about him, Howard, you can get a guy on him and you can block him, but he doesn't stay blocked.
It's 3rd down and 13 for Denver. Back at the 28-yard line of Buffalo. Shotgun formation for Elway. Quarterback draw for John Elway inside the 25 to the 20-yard line and brought down at the 20-yard line by Leonard Smith, who saved a bigger gain than that. It's close enough to try still a 3rd field goal for Denver. They're 0 for 2.
I think David Treadwell feels. I mean, I think kicking is, I've never been a kicker. I've held for kickers, but boy, I'll tell you, so much of it's confidence. This is a guy right now who just missed 2 badly.
This is a 37-yard field goal try. Treadwell has missed 2 thus far. Good snap from center. The placement is down. Here comes the kick towards the right goal post and hit it again. Oh my, that's twice today. It hit the right upright twice. No score. 5:52 to go. First half. Let's take timeout.
Jerry.
Yeah?
It's your conscience.
Oh, no, not now.
Gee, this place is a mess, and so is this balance sheet.
Look, I'm trying to study my cash flow, all
well,
right?
I can tell you right now, you're paying out too much for other people's dishonesty.
What?
Don't you realize when people cheat on insurance claims, you pay the price in higher premiums?
Wait, why should I have to pay?
Good question.
CNA and the independent agents who represent it work hard to control excess cost by combating fraud. Last year alone, CNA saved more than $35 million in fraudulent and inflated claims. That's one more way CNA fulfills its commitment to keep insurance affordable.
So what do I get for being honest?
A clear conscience, Jerry.
Oh.
Ask your independent agent about the CNA insurance companies. CNA, for all the commitments you make.
Illegal motion.
Pass across the middle to Don Beebe was complete. But they're bringing it back because of illegal motion against the Buffalo Bills, so the Bills keep hurting themselves. That's their 4th penalty here in the first half. This one will bring it back to the 15.
Well, isn't it ironic, too, the field goal, the missed field goal that was such a thorn in Buffalo's side a year ago, cost them a championship. Now they've been the benefactor. 3 missed field goals by David Treadwell today.
And 2 have hit the right upright on the same side of the field. Kelly with a deep drop throws it over the middle. The pass is incomplete because of a great hit by Steve Atwater on James Lofton.
Well, you know, Jim Kelly is just kind of lobbing the ball with no zip on it over the middle a couple of times. Now, granted, the receiver wasn't very far away from him, but Steve Atwater, the free safety, has just read those crossing routes, and that's the 3rd time he's just driven right through the receiver to cause an incompletion.
Kelly 0 for his last 4. 5.5 to play till halftime. There's still no score. Kelly back to throw to the 5. Throws it out to the left, and the pass is overthrown, intended for James Lofton. It will set up a 3rd and 15 for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, Jim Kelly is not in rhythm right now. But he's kind of one of those guys that he's not going to stay like this all game, I promise you. Once he hits 1 guy or 2 guys, you're going to find him getting a little better feel for the game, and then you're going to see some big plays out of him. But right now, he is just not throwing the ball very well.
Kelly had completed 64% of his passes this season for a career best 3,144 yards. Takes the snap out of the shotgun, try to set up the screen to Thurman Thomas at the 10-yard line. He's to the 15 and stopped at the 20. It will bring up 4th down on this virtual no-name defense. So the Denver Broncos has done a great job on the high-powered Buffalo offense.
And a sprinkling of boos, believe it or not, by the hometown 80,000 here at Rich Stadium.
Well, Chris Moore will punt it away again to Vance Johnson. This will be the 6th offensive series for Denver. 4 have started, or 4 previous have started from the 50-yard line in.
Yeah, and they're going to get good field position again here, at least in the 35 or 40-yard line.
Moore awaits the snap. A good snap from center, and Moore sends it upfield. A good punt. It'll drive Johnson back to the 30-yard line. He fair catches it there, but that's an excellent punt of 50 yards by Chris Moore. So the Denver...
Is it at your place? Is that the line you've been working on all week?
No. Another one later, better for you later.
Oh, terrific. Let me decide, would you, how good it is, all right? Total yards, Buffalo 50, Denver 99, and it has been a very methodical 99 yards for the Broncos, hasn't it been? Ed McMahon.
I'll tell you what, the longer that Buffalo stays off the scoreboard, the more they may pressure themselves to try to score. Right now, Denver with a scoreless game. Hand off to Gaston Green, off right tackle for a couple of yards. Leon Seals was there to make the hit, the defensive left end.
Well, you know, the real credit, I think, goes to the Denver defense thus far. I mean, the Denver defense has really set up, well, they set up an awful lot of punts by the Buffalo team, quite honestly. Their offense, John Elway and the offense, has not been able to convert this excellent field position into any points just yet. But, well, you just can't give a team or a John Elway this many chances.
Steve Sewell, a late entry into the lineup. The only thing that Denver should stay away from is trying to force something right now. Right now, the game plan is perfect. Elway rolling left. Getting out of the one grasp, looking to run. Cornelius Bennett chasing him. He gets out of the grasp, running to his right, throws it downfield, and connects across the 45-yard line to Shannon Sharp. Man, talk about improvisation. Leonard Smith was there to make the hit. That's a 13-yard gain for Elway, largely due to his great scrambling.
Well, how many players did Elway make miss? He rolled to his left first, and I'm looking at my monitors. Two defenders there, including Cornelius Bennett and Bruce Smith, miss him. And then the nose tackle misses him. He throws the ball across his body, which generally for a quarterback is against one of those cardinal rules you don't break. But with John Elway, I mean, he breaks a lot of rules and it works out pretty well.
He is 8 of 12 for 106 yards out of an I formation. Play fake Elway, throwing it out of the left to the left side to Steve Sewell to the 50-yard line. Couple of yards. Shane Conlon was there to track him down after maybe a 3-yard gain. We have 2:55 remaining till halftime. There's still no score.
You know, Howard, that last scramble by John Elway, I think really shows the difference between these two quarterbacks. Both superb in their own right, but I think Jim Kelly is his best when the plays work as designed. John Elway is at his best when the plays don't work as designed, as he did right there. He just kind of scrambled around and found an open receiver down the middle.
Out of the Strasburg school, improvisation.
Yeah, I like that. Jeez.
5 receptions for Sewell for 66 yards. Again, Elway back to throw on the run to Sewell at the 50-yard line and tripped up at the 46-yard line by Leonard Smith, the strong safety. Also in on the play for Buffalo is Carlton Bailey and Shane Conlon. It will bring up 3rd down and 2.
Well, you know, I know what has to weigh on Dan Reeves' mind, too, is if you get in field goal range, what do? Do you go for it because your field goal kicker's already missed 3?
And he's probably lost his confidence. There's no score as we come to nothing. Elway never panics. He methodically takes his team down the field, and he gets a lot of different people involved in the offense during the series that cut the score from 14-0 to, I think it was 21-13 at one point.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think so much of it is believing in a guy like Elway, and he's done it so many times before. As you mentioned before last week, 18 times he brought his team back from behind. So you believe in the guy.
It's 3rd down and 3. Shotgun formation, the short snap to Sewell. There's a fumble, and Sewell falls on it. They tried a little bit of trickery, as we've come to expect from Denver. That one is not executed well.
Well, it's not executed, and it goes back to one of the things you said early in the game. The center, Keith Karts, is out of the game for the Denver Broncos because of an injury. Dave Wydell is the new center. Ordinarily a guard, he is the backup center, but they've had some exchange problems between Wydell and John Elway. That time there was a direct snap to the up-back Steve Sewell in a shotgun formation. The snap was high. Otherwise, I think he picks up the 1st down.
Wydell just took a lot of tape off his hands and gave it to one of the players that was leaving the field. Obviously, it's something that he feels is a problem. 3 minutes on this drive that's going to end here as Mike Coranta punted away to Clifford Hicks at the 15-yard line. 1:12 to go in a scoreless first half. And Denver going to take a delay of game penalty. What they're trying to do is shorten the game, and boy, have they shortened this game.
Yeah, you're right. 1:08 remaining now with no score left in this thing. The Buffalo Bills will have 2 timeouts remaining. But it's offensively, with the 2 first downs, they have not been on the field very much this first half. Their passing game is not in rhythm. But this is an offense that can wake from the slumber very, very quickly. And it just takes one pass to an Andre Reed or a James Lofton on the move, and you can have, the scoreboard lights can be changing.
Well, they scored 458 points during the regular season, second only to the Washington Redskins. We'll play the Detroit Lions in the second half of our Championship Day doubleheader on CBS Radio. Well, they bring it back to the 46. Moran waiting the snap from center to kick it away to Clifford Hicks. There's a balloon on the field, believe it or not, as Horan gets it away. Gets caught up in that wind, a wobbly kick. Hicks, fair catch, 13-yard line, and Buffalo with exactly 60 seconds to play in the first half will have the ball after a 39-yard punt by Mike Horan.
Ordinarily you play prevent defense in situations like this, but this Denver defense has played so well the first half. In not doing that, I think it's an error if, in fact, they go to that prevent, that loose zone defense. They've been very successful attacking, blitzing Jim Kelly. And now Kelly with 2 timeouts remaining in a minute. I think he's got to be thinking of getting the ball to Andre Reed, who has not caught a pass yet in this ball game.
Wideouts have been invisible. Only 2 first downs for Buffalo thus far. Kelly on the draw. Thurman Thomas trying to find his way for some running room across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. Buffalo has 2 timeouts remaining, and I believe they're going to use one here.
Discharge. Timeout. Denver.
Oh, Denver takes the timeout. The best in the business. And you already talked about the Elway's ability to scramble. Kelly does not have that ability. Still with a little bit of a sore knee that has been aggravated throughout the year. Second down and 8. They go to Thurman Thomas running left across the 15 to the 20-yard line and takes a shot from Dennis Smith, the Denver safety. And very close to a first down for the Buffalo Bills. And a timeout. The second is taken by Denver, which is kind of curious. And with 43 seconds to play till halftime, there's no score. Let's take timeout.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine went to Mount Everest, where the toughest colds live.
The PR director of the Buffalo Bills gives us an interesting note. Last time the Bills were scoreless in the first half was against Washington in the regular season finale last season. Carwell Garner's in the game with Kenneth Davis for Buffalo. Denver has stopped the clock, consecutive possessions with 2 timeouts. They need to stop him here with a man in motion. Kelly to Kenneth Davis running right, and he's stopped at the 20-yard line short of a first down, and Denver takes their 3rd and final timeout. Brian Sauché with a big play with Greg Cragen. And Buffalo's running game has been non-existent because defense by Denver has been near perfect.
Yeah, Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator, really has done a sensational job, both in the coverage category, but more primarily, I think, the defensive front has really done a good job of getting penetration. There hasn't been any really rhythm in this offense because of all the defensive penetration. Now Denver has a couple of choices, I think. Is one to go after the punter, potentially go for the block, or set up the return Vance Johnson. Again, 38 seconds remaining. They have no timeouts left. Their field goal kicker has missed 3. I think maybe you give it a shot, you go after the punter.
Denver's defense, we've talked about it all half. They have held 14 of 16 regular season opponents under 20 points. And right now they have put the clamps on Buffalo's high-powered offense. They have also been unable to score themselves. 3 missed field goals, 2 have hit the right upright. So Chris Moore to punt it away to Vance Johnson. Good snap from center. He gets it away. A line drive kick. It'll be taken by Johnson. There's a flag on the play as Johnson running right. Running for the near sideline. It goes out of bounds at the 46-yard line, but there is a flag on the play.
There's a flag downfield.
They're going to say Lilo Lang.
Running into the kicker.
Running into the kicker. That's a first down because it was a 4th down and 3, so it'll be a first down for Buffalo.
It wasn't bad. Chris Moore, really gave it an Academy Award performance. Lawrence Olivier here because, really, Lilo Lang just kind of barely touched him.
21, 5-yard penalty.
That's a bad call.
When measured, we'll give Buffalo a first down.
Right here, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network.
With the penalty, 1st and 10 Buffalo at their own.
Howard David and Pat Hayden here at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. There is no score with 29 seconds to go till halftime. In a game that you would expect would have had a lot more scoring, certainly from Buffalo's perspective, has turned into a defensive struggle, and Kelly going to put one knee to the ground and, well, draw the end of the first half, and a very surprising, well-played defensive first half by both teams, particularly Denver's defense. They are scoreless as we go to the break. The end of the first half with the score, Buffalo nothing, Denver nothing. Let's pause for this word.
Just got home. And you know that light that's really high up? Poof! Ball blows. So I get the ladder and all the way to the top. Phone ring.
While neither team able to move the ball, Denver at least has gotten into field goal range with those 123 yards, resulting in the 3 misses from field goal range. And Buffalo actually one more first down. They had 3 first downs and only 58 total yards, as Denver had 2-1 in time possession. Over 20 minutes, the ball in control of the Broncos.
Make the difference in this game. This is when coaches do become very, very important. Their decisions as to how to adapt their offenses to what defenses they've seen, and of course defense.
As Brad Del Wiso, the rookie from UCLA, who is just the kickoff specialist, he may have the best job in the National Football League, will kick the teeth. Derek Russell, a rookie from Arkansas, waits at the other end at the 6. Tackle made by number 99, Hal Garner.
And these guys are intense, huh? Woo. You can see that kickoff coverage, typically in a championship game, is so intense. They just break right through blockers.
Only 1 turnover in the first half, and that was that exceptional interception by nose guard Greg Cragen of Denver, but a missed field goal by Treadwell. From the 23, Michael Young to the left, and Russell to the right. Gaston Green, and no gain there as Carlton Bailey read it well. Bailey from North Carolina replacing Ray Bentley at that inside linebacker position this year.
Well, he looked at that size, 245 pounds, and he runs at 4.6. And when he knows where the ball is, he gets there. He attacked that play. There's just got to be something else in the repertoire of both these clubs to break this game open.
Bailey and Shane Conlon pushing and shoving the 2 Buffalo linebackers. Getting in position. Elway, good protection. Now it breaks down. And he has to dive out to the 25-yard line. Leon Seals, Dr. Sack, number 96, walking him, and a flag is down.
Well, it was all Bailey. Bailey blitzed all the way around outside everybody, and Elway had held the ball too long. And he has got a problem.
There was no flag on the play. Flag fell out inadvertently. No flag.
Elway's limping.
Ball at the 25, a gain of a couple for Elway, 3rd down and 8.
Yeah.
Not a good sign as Elway flexing that knee. Gary Kubiak is the backup.
He's trying to work up in between people. Didn't see anything significant at all, but he is hurting.
May have just jammed that knee. Elway shouting to his center, hurry up here. Trying to kickstart the play. He gives to Vance Johnson, who's tripped up in the backfield.
Jeff Wright. Wow.
So a nothing series for Denver's offense and a big start for the defense of Buffalo.
Jeff Wright's going to penetrate out of that nose tackle position and just take the blockers down more than anyone else. They didn't have to make a tackle. They took away the blocking.
Well, Buffalo is going to get about its best field position of the entire game off this kick by Horan, with Clifford Hicks at his 42. Horan sends a beautiful spiral arcing deep. Look at that. What a kick over Hicks's head and still rolling. A magnificent punt by Mike Horan. Waved by the Broncos inside the 5-yard line.
Why the ball wasn't fielded, I still can't explain. I don't know anybody could explain. You go all through training camp. You come to a championship game like this, and you fail to field the ball that is clearly clicked. How far? 77 yards. Well, it was about a 65-yard punt in the air, and it wasn't fielded, and that really hurt.
It is a record kick for Horan. His longest before was 75. Hicks may be up in that wind. He just didn't read it well, and that left-footed kicker sends a different action, and Hicks has been the punt return man for Buffalo only since mid-season. Al Edwards earlier in the year, so not a lot of experience in that regard. So Kelly starts from his 5. Out to Thurman Thomas, and he's knocked down at the 7 by number 91 Warren Powers, a third-year lineman from Maryland.
Well, Elway's hurting.
Flexing that right knee, and there's Kubiak, who has announced his retirement. No, I'll take that back. Elway announced his retirement in the post-game conference last week after the win against Houston.
This was to be Kubiak's last game. You may see little duty
if they lose the last game. Thomas tripped up in the backfield. It's Greg Cragen's penetration into the blockers, and Thomas tripped up for a loss.
Well, the intensity of the defensive lines are getting the jump on the offensive lines, on the blockers. It's happening on both clubs all day. Anything where you pull a lineman, the man that is following that pulling lineman is beating the blocker to the punch. That's all there is to it.
3rd down and 10, and Kelly took his team into a brief huddle. From his end zone. And out over the middle to Andre Reed, and it's Reed's first catch, and he's close to a first down. Reed, who had 81 in the season, had 4 last week, 2 for touchdowns, and not until the second half today does he get his first grab. Is it good enough for a first down?
And that was really a broken play. Kelly had to come outside, as you noticed, and Reed had to change his pattern to get open. So that was not a designed, rehearsed play. That was strictly individual effort.
They spot it right on the 14, so it's a half-yard shy of a first down and more into punt.
I think that Elway thing's the most significant thing thus far in the game. Not the non-scoring. Elway looks like he's really going to be handicapped in movement.
The 5 bruised. Here's Moore's punt, end over end, and a third catch by Vance Johnson at the 50-yard line. So thanks to Horan's 77-yard punt, exchange of kicks all in the favor of the Broncos.
I had no idea Alaska was so far away. Coming from Tennessee, it's up there. I went there to check on a new Saturn, fix a little problem with our seat recliner. Since Robin Millage was 2,500 miles from our nearest retailer, we went to her. Didn't take long, and she was back in business, and I was on my way home. I tell folks Alaska is a great place, though I'd recommend staying more than a day.
Salutes the Olympic athletes who found a better way. Whose ideas were so original, there's no going back. That same innovative thinking led us to invent Scotchgard brand protector, and things have looked newer longer ever since. 3M, innovation working for you.
Hey, which one looks like your beer?
I would say this one.
One on my left. This is Budweiser. Here's Coors Extra Gold.
Wait, Bud, wait a minute.
58% of
the sports coverage of the AFC Championship is brought to you by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. By Pepsi. And by Dean Witter. There are many ways to measure success. Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time.
Powerful Niagara Falls. Many gave Denver about as much chance today against Buffalo as clearing the falls in a barrel. But the Broncos defense brilliant, and now an exchange of punts worth 40 yards, and Denver takes over at midfield. Elway, plenty of time, and it's deflected by Smith, incomplete. Bruce Smith.
Dick, you recall in the first quarter, Elway tried the same play pass, and he wanted to hit Sharp deep down the field. He couldn't get away with it a second time. You see the pulling guard, Wydell, that time really didn't get his job done. Elway had to rush it. But the point is, they went to the special play the second time, and it didn't develop.
Smith a factor today. Although his bad knee really restricts him, he's not the great player that we saw all of last season. Draw play, and it's open for Green. Caught from behind by Cornelius Bennett. Green was going to make good yardage, and there's Bennett on his heels.
Well, if you love defensive football, this is your day. Bennett will come underneath. You see what he does? He starts outside, takes away the blocker's leverage, and then breaks back inside of him. Now, there may not be another man in the league. Maybe Derek Thomas, fast enough to do that. Go out and then come back in and make a play.
He just took tight end Clarence Kay and threw him 240 pounds, just threw him off the line of scrimmage.
Started out and then came back in and made the play.
On 3rd and 9. Elway has a man, Johnson, and he can't make the play. Clifford Hicks blindly leaping and timing perfectly to break it up.
Well, Johnson was open. They finally got a guy open, and Elway didn't get him the ball. Now, this is the way to beat these kinds of defenses. Put that ball up, and it's just underthrown enough that the recovery was made by Hicks, and you have to give Hicks credit for recovering, but he was beat bad at the start of the play.
Well, here's Horan. He's in the all-time NFL playoff book with his last punt. You think of the thousands of punts in NFL playoff history. Officially 76 yards. His last kick ties a record that goes back to 1935. He sends this one toward the end zone, and Hicks backs away as it goes into the red Bills area, and it's the touchback for Buffalo at their own 20. Timeout, 9:44 left in the third period. 0-0 score. The Broncos and the Bills playing for a shot 2 weeks from today at the big party in Minneapolis, Super Bowl 26. Thurman Thomas, their star running back, has 37 yards rushing today. He told O.J. Simpson at halftime that there were no corrections, no adjustments made in the offense. They're just going to try to hit a big play against a mistake in the Denver defense. What's your reaction to that?
Well, there has to be a phase of the game plan that accounts for heavy blitzing and penetrating defenses, and apparently they felt that they had the answer to it. But you'd have to think there are things they can go to now, especially getting the ball to the outside receivers.
Another misdirection going to Thomas. Breaks a tackle, breaks another. And on a solo effort, he skids out of bounds 1 yard shy of a first down at the 29. Meanwhile, on the Broncos sideline, they're rubbing some of that hot ointment into the deep bruise on the thigh of John Elway.
You know, the problem with this, Dick, it could preclude a great comeback in the fourth quarter with Elway. If he cannot run and is not mobile, it takes away a lot of what he did last week. So that could affect the fourth quarter, the final minutes of a ball game, even though he can function halfway decent in the meantime.
It's 3rd and a half yard.
Safety's right up in there.
And Thomas hit, but spins forward and has the first down. Just
he made it. He barely made it.
Only the 4th first down for Buffalo today.
Now you're going to see a safety coming right up into the play prior to the snap and right up on top of the ball. So there isn't anywhere to go.
On first down, Kelly. Complete to Beebe, and he's tackled immediately by Michael Brooks at the 6-yard line, a pickup of 5.
Brooks did a great job of
Bruce Smith being attended to. Could be that knee would be a logical guess.
Yeah, it looks like he may have a cramp because most likely he hasn't been able to work out. Consequently, he's not in physical condition to be able to do some of these things.
Off a blitz, and Kelly had to hurry. What a catch by Thurman Thomas. He was flat on his back. For a game with no score, we've had some spectacular
Here's
action.
an unblocked man, and Thomas somehow makes the catch. Now, he's not going to be able to do that that very many times. Fletcher was all over Kelly.
That's a highlight catch. Reverse to Reed with blockers. At water can't get him, but does get enough to push him out of bounds, but it's at the Denver 40.
Well, with everybody focusing in, funneling into the ball, the reverse was inevitable. And finally it was called, and there was a big hole. Jim Kelly makes a key block as the whole thing starts. You see Kelly right there making the block, right on the spot.
Buffalo in the scoreless game at the 40 with a first down. And now it's Thomas, and it looks as if the Bills offense becoming on track. That's 7 more. Thomas, who is looking for another 100-yard game. He has 4 consecutive playoff games, 100 yards. The record is 6. Another call for Thurman. And he ducks across the 30, first down.
Well, Simon Fletcher blitzed from a deepened position that time, and we could start getting a fatigue factor in that defense, Denver's defense.
Kelly shouting out the signals and the no huddle.
Now this is when the fatigue factor sets in. If he can make a series of first downs, the defense will start to suffer for it.
Oh, a blitz, and he had to unload that one to Lofton as Michael Brooks charged through.
Brooks blitzed inside, and he's getting, now Brooks is going to blitz in here. The penetration here stops Kelly from throwing that 3-step drop pattern. Here it comes. There's so much penetration right there. You see Thomas couldn't get there in time, couldn't make it in time to effectively block.
This is the deepest penetration by the #1 offense in the National Football League. The Bills to the 29 of Denver, 10th play of the drive. And off to Thomas. A play that Denver likes to run with Steve Sewell back in the shotgun with Elway. It gains about 4. Simon Fletcher, another tackle for Denver. 3rd and 6. Make it closer to 7. A play action by Kelly. Intercepted, Tyrone Braxton, and he steps out of bounds at the Denver 19-yard line. Braxton.
Dick, that's the problem with a no-huddle offense. You've got a critical 3rd down play, and Kelly is trying to make that call at the line of scrimmage. You'd like to think you would huddle up and decide on the best single thing to do in that situation, and that play was covered all the way by Braxton.
On January 12th, a farmer, as though drawn by an irresistible force, drove his truck off the road.
By the folks at Pennzoil Motor Oil. Well, Tyrone Braxton from North Dakota State. He was the next to last player drafted in '87. Braxton, a name familiar to Buffalo fans and O.J. Simpson. Remember Jim Braxton, the big fullback who blocked for O.J. in the 70s. He is a distant relative. But Tyrone in a Denver uniform stops Jim Kelly's drive, the 2nd interception against Kelly, and Denver has the ball at its own 19. That was the best chance for the Bills.
Well, the numbers aren't great there. 52 yards throwing the ball. Far short of any expectations. But one of the problems when you're having a game in which the opposing defense is really taking you apart, it's best, I think, Dick, to use the huddle, slow things down, concentrate with the coach's help on your next call. That was a wasted down and a wasted interception.
This big crowd still making it tough on Elway. A little play action. And he can't hit Shannon Sharp.
Well, John was willing to come out of there and run with the ball, even though he's got that thigh bruise. Maybe he feels that'll loosen it up.
Well, his shoulder, that kind of matches the shoulder. He has to keep throwing because of a shoulder that tightens up on him. Even between plays, he'll try to throw lightly to keep loose.
That's 0 for 3 in the second half.
Young to the left, Russell to the right. Little screen, it's intercepted by Bailey. Carlton Bailey, touchdown. Linebacker Carlton Bailey picking off a pass deflected, I believe, by Jeff Wright into his lap. And Bailey, an unlikely offensive hero, has the first points of this game.
Well, you have to say Jeff Wright, number 91, is really the guy that recognized the screen.
7-0 as Scott Norwood adds the extra point. Carlton Bailey, who had one interception in his NFL career, gets an interception for a touchdown. Remindful of A.J. Dewey of the Miami Dolphins. In that game that was scoreless with the Jets, it was Dewey with 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. Remember, 10 years ago when Miami beat the Jets.
Well, it's very clear. The first middle screen we saw in the first half worked for big yardage. But watch these defensive linemen, especially that one, recognize the screen coming up. Elway wants to throw the middle screen. I watched Jeff Wright. He says, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. He's the guy that bats the ball, and then Bailey's in the position to intercept it. So those special plays, like that middle screen, you've got to be very, very careful of repeating them.
Carlton Bailey gets the goal, the assist to Wright at the 5:28 mark of the third period. And Buffalo leads 7-0. Alton Montgomery and Derek Russell for Denver. Let's just see the impact emotionally on the Broncos of that quick turnaround. And, of course, this crowd is going to really make it tough. Alton Montgomery, second-year man from Houston. Tackle from Carwell Gardner and Clifford Hicks. Denver goes to work at the 25. A reminder, next week on Sunday, an NBA doubleheader. You'll see first the world champion Bulls and Michael against Isaiah Thomas and the beloved Detroit Pistons. And then it'll be Portland and Phoenix with superstars Drexler and Johnson. It starts at 12 noon Eastern time. A big day next Sunday to be followed, the doubleheader in basketball, by the final round of the Bob Hope Desert Classic.
Now the noise will be there. Now the crowd is in it.
Green, just nothing to buy. Jeff Wright again. Andrew Smith with a tackle.
Darryl Talley blitzed and he just broke the play wide open. Wydell tried to trap him, but Talley penetrated so hard, so fast, the play couldn't get started.
Well, both teams have really stuffed the run game of each club. This is a special NBC crowd meter. Lots of lights. It must be important because look at all the lights on that noise meter. We're getting up to thunder here. We might even get up to a producer yelling in your ear if we're lucky. Underneath it goes to Vance Johnson. And Johnson fumbles the ball. And Bailey almost got another turnover. Denver recovers. Leonard Smith made the hit and Dave Wydell recovered.
Wydell had to really be hustling back. He just happened to be there, or the game would have really taken a very negative turn for Denver. That would have been it. Now, you've got to protect the ball in this situation. And it's a great job by Smith of dislodging it. But Wydell came from out of nowhere to save that play.
Sure looked like Bailey was going to get another big one, didn't it? Look at it, 54. Ooh, just taken away from him.
But now the running effort in that situation, you don't run laterally across the field. He needed a first down. He's trying to make a big play out of a short game.
It is not enough for the first down on the fumble recovery, so 3rd and inches for Denver.
Well, I know where not to run. That Buffalo defense between the tackles has just been too much for Denver all day. I'd assume they'll run that play pass we've seen before and hit Sewell in the flat.
Nope. Sewell not in there. Gaston Green behind Elway.
3 wide receivers. Now, Elway typically sneaks in this situation, but they are loaded up inside.
Elway has the first down, driving straight ahead to the 35, or at least it would appear the first down. Let's wait for the mark by the officials. It is a first down.
Well, he ran his typical sneak. It was pretty evident what he was about to do, and he got lucky. He had to go way over to his right to make it.
That's Shane Conlon down for Buffalo. Conlon, the great star on the national championship unbeaten Penn State team of '87, and then a #1 pick. He's a local lad, 70 miles. Frewsburg, New York is his home from Rich Stadium. Named by his parents, who were influenced by that great Alan Ladd movie, Shane. Timeout with 3:40 left in the third. Buffalo by 7. That Coach Dan Reeves has told Kubiak to stay warm just in case.
Well, those thigh bruises, as John is suffering, you can see him limping, get worse by time. You don't work those out, they get worse and worse and worse.
Green on a delay. And he's to the 44-yard line, 2 yards short of a first down. Carlton Bailey, the tackler. So 3rd down and 2 as Gaston Green back into the huddle. Green, who was picked, I believe he was one of those picks in that huge 3-corner deal with Eric Dickerson, Indianapolis Colts, and Cornelius Bennett here to Buffalo, and just didn't materialize as a runner for Johnny Robinson's Rams. But what a season. Goes to the Pro Bowl with 1,037, and this his first year in Denver. He's out.
Gee, look at this. Elway by himself on 3rd down and 2.
He's got 4 men now to the right. And then he throws left for Sewell. And no penalty as Nate Odom's riding him hard, able to break up the play.
They had Sewell outside on Odoms. And just trying to get a one-on-one and go for everything. Now it looks as though Odom sort of hooks Sewell's arm toward the end of this play right there, but that's the way you interpret a good play nowadays. At one point that would have been very quickly called pass interference. But again, Denver looking desperate, acting desperate.
Moran with 2:07 left in the 3rd period. This one is short and Hicks lets it bounce. And another good Denver roll, and Elton Montgomery stops it at the 11-yard line. A 46-yard punt, no return by Mike Moran.
That last 3rd down call was pure desperation. It really was.
I don't know if that's Elway or with a jacket on, can't read a number.
Well, they're trying to, that muscle has a heavy contusion and is starting to tighten up on it. And typically they tighten up and there's no relief.
There's a lineup tonight on NBC. We'll give it to you in more detail later. As Sherman Thomas looking for a hole, and he just finds Michael Brooks up high, number 56, and Mike Kroll, 51. So tonight, prime time begins with Erie, Indiana, followed by a special episode of the Torkelsons. Hey, the country hotter than ever. Some of our favorites, Crystal Gale and Steve Warner. And hey, a special guest star, Merle Haggard, one of the Hall of Famers from CNW. NBC's Hot Country Nights, and that, well, get ready to shake tonight. Tremors, Kevin Bacon, Reba McEntire tonight on NBC, the movie.
Thomas is on the sideline there. It looks like he was hit in the face or in the eye or something of that nature.
That tackle was up really high. And Thomas, who has been such a durable back for Buffalo in his 4 years, and that accounts for those high numbers, so productive, help to the sidelines.
You'd almost have to say it'll take a great defensive play by Denver to get the ball, to get it back.
Here's Kelly on the scramble. And he's out to the 20, close to a first down. Michael Brooks makes the tackle. Let's go back to the previous play as Thurman Thomas was injured.
taking the draw play. You can see him going up inside, and there's the shot.
Brooks coming straight at him.
And it looks like his right arm got caught under the eyelid or the jaw, something, into the face.
Kelly's scramble is worthy of a first down, 10 yards. His longest of the entire year, Kelly's 12.
First and 10 from the 21.
Well, Kenneth Davis takes over, and he's a worthy backup to Thurman Thomas. Davis rushed for over 620 yards this year. This is Davis, played at TCU, right into Simon Fletcher, well supported by number 91, Warren Powers.
It appears there isn't any real outside threat by either team. In other words, they run that single back offense, and both linebackers of both teams are crowding right up into the line. There just isn't anywhere to go. And you'd think that you'd want to throw the ball in that situation.
Final minute, third period. Kelly gets away and then dumps it off to Davis. And Brooks gets him at the 29, just shy of the first down. Might be the last play of the quarter.
That was a screen pass, Dick, and it was completely covered by Denver. And Davis finally broke back to the inside and got open. You'd wonder if there wasn't an offensive lineman downfield on that play. But apparently it wasn't spotted. But it was a screen that was just gobbled up by Denver until Davis broke back inside.
Plenty of time left in the third quarter, but Buffalo does not have to run a play, so they'll let this third period run its course. A big period for the defense of Buffalo, and especially of Carlton Bailey from North Carolina. And we'll return to Rich Stadium after these messages from your local station. All right, the middle screen for Denver. Success and then disaster, Bill.
26 yards on this one. Watch that defensive front of the Bills attack. They're blindly attacking. They think they've got the sack. The ball's popped over their head to Sewell. Everyone does a fine job blocking downfield. Perfectly executed middle screen. Now later, you just can't come back to those kinds of plays. Watch Jeff Wright start and say, now wait a minute. Oh no, you don't. Now he's right in the way. In fact, everybody was there. Leon Seals, Bruce Smith, all of them identified it the second time around.
On third down and about 1.5, Kelly throws complete. First down at the 45 to Pete Metzelaars, who had only 5 catches all year.
Well, they've started to take on the defense from the standpoint. Now there's Metzelaars, no one covering him, nobody near him. And it's a matter of faking inside, and Alton Montgomery failed to identify a man releasing right at him down the field.
Thomas is back in the game, and that's good news for Buffalo fans. But that isn't good news as Greg Cragen and company greet him rudely.
Second and 6.
Cragen, who made that outstanding for a defensive lineman, may be the interception of the decade in the first period. So the defense, and from certainly not expected sources, coming up with the big plays today. Cragen for Denver, and then Bailey the touchdown for Buffalo as they try to steal it from Thomas. He's out close to midfield.
Gee, that's really a nice job by that Denver defense to take that play. Oh, John.
He's still hobbled.
Oh, yeah. If he's having that kind of problem, how is he going to be able to concentrate on what's going on downfield and avoiding pass rushers? Looks like Kubiak's going to be our guy.
Third down, a short 6. Kelly a lot of time. Someone must be open, and Lofton is fouled by Wyman Henderson. The flag goes down. Now, when you saw that play earlier by Odoms using his left hand all the way to ward off the defender, doesn't get the foul, but Henderson did something that did catch the eye of the same official.
From our angle, it looked very much the same. Henderson's in good position, a good chuck. Oh, gee, there's no foul. There is no foul.
There was no comparison.
Now, that's how subjective this game is.
And that one same official who had certain contact against Odoms didn't call it. And here,
5-yard penalty, first down.
That evidence is rather incriminating against that official, and this is an all-star cast of officials.
This is a tough game to officiate. There was 1 point of contact, no deeper than 5 yards by Henderson, and there wasn't a second point of contact. There couldn't have been a foul. Oh, gee.
Thurman Thomas being dragged down.
That Simon Fletcher is quick. Fletcher came off his blocker in a beautiful shot, coming straight up the field and making the stop. Again, he came inside a tight end. The outside linebackers on both teams have done a beautiful job today. And Fletcher with great physical, athletic ability.
4-yard loss in the play. Over the middle it goes, and it looked as if Kelly wanted Lofton to go the other way, tried to stop his throw, and just slipped out of his hand.
Well, the receivers didn't recognize the zone defense as Kelly did. James kept running, and it was his zone defense. You see Henderson not covering him, and you see Lofton was looking at a defender rather than setting down in the middle of people when he recognized the zone defense.
Leading 7-0 early in the fourth quarter. The Bills 3rd and 14 at midfield. And it's Kelly going deep for Lofton, and there's no penalty this time, and the same official is involved, Doug Toole. Incidental trip, apparently.
Well, Henderson tripped, and he tripped Lofton. They're not calling that now. You see their feet get tangled up right in that area, and they both go down.
But the man was beaten, the defender.
He was beaten. Doug Toole's having his work cut out for him, the side judge.
But it evened out in that regard as a high kick by Moore, but Johnson comes up with fair catch as he goes out of bounds at the 21-yard line. 12 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Wouldn't it be great if your blind date Rachel turned out to be Rachel Hunter, the international model, and you had a romantic dinner at the beach with beer? Really great.
Sports coverage of the AFC Championship is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. By Magnavox. Smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. And by cold filtered Keystone and Keystone Light. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
As you surmise, Bill, that thigh muscle tightened, and Gary Kubiak, who threw only 5 passes all season, takes over for John Elway. 12:40 left. Comes out throwing and hitting. And a first down and a fumble, but as he rolled down, he was rolled down. Ricky Mateo made the catch. Carlton Bailey came up with a ball. He has been around Denver mistakes all day, that Bailey, but it is ruled down with the catch right at the yardsticks, the 31.
Nice job of hooking right between zone defenders and then splitting them. He's down, then the ball comes out. You know, I had a 30-minute conversation with Gary Kubiak yesterday because of back. The ball may have been out.
I'm not sure that knee was down when that ball came out. Cornelius Bennett made the tackle. They'll review that one. See that again. See whether his knee was down. He did not have a good grip on the ball. You can see he's not really. He's out. That ball is out before he's down. That's a fumble recovered by Buffalo.
That's disaster if they use the replay. They're not going to use it. Must have called him down.
Well, the Broncos get a break there. First down at the 31, and it's Gaston Green trying to get outside. And he does have speed. The first time he's been able to get around a corner and takes out one of the Denver coaches as he gets to the 41-yard line. Bailey pushed him out of bounds.
Speaking of Kubiak, I talked to him for 30 minutes, Dick, about coaching somewhere next year. He's retiring unless he changes his mind off this game. He's had recurrent back problems. Now, he can play, but standing out on the practice field is just killing him. Now, he's a very good player, and he and I talked about coaching as a career. I talked to him about considering possibly being on the staff at Stanford University. This guy's very, very bright, and he's been a good player when given a chance.
He throws and hits Shannon Sharp, and he has come out with 3 fine plays, 2 passes and a run, all worth first down.
Well, that demonstrates just how Elway was restricted trying to play with that thigh bruise. Now, they ran that same play pass, and this time they got the tight end. Sharp really had good poise catching the ball and keeping his feet in, but the mobility now Kubiak might get Denver back into the game.
Elway's numbers in the game. The one interception, of course, a deflection for the touchdown by linebacker Carlton Bailey. Offside will be the call as Green has to eat it in his own backfield. It appeared that Bruce Smith had jumped ahead of the snap. Had he been drawn off? No. The last shutout in a championship game was when Bill Parcells' Giants shut out Washington 5 years ago.
Defense, number 78.
I was sure you were going to say they shut out the 49ers. Bill Parcells' team gave ours a couple of bad beatings in the playoffs.
And the last AFC shutout was the one we alluded to earlier when Miami shut out the Jets on a soggy field. Orange Bowl 14-0 10 years ago. That was the H.A. Dewey 3-interception game, one for a touchdown. 1st and 5. Denver trailing 7-0. 11 minutes left in the fourth.
A blitz again.
And it's Green on the draw for a first down to the 33.
All Green had was a safety man left. He broke the line of scrimmage. All the blitzers were going to be running past him, and he had a chance to make the big play. Now you'll see people blitzing inside, and then he's going to break. And here's the last hope of stopping it. There goes the blitzers. There's that big clean hole, but there's the stop.
Kelso made the tackle, but another first down as Kubiak has driven his team from the 20-yard line to the 32 of Buffalo in what could be his last game if Denver loses. It's Green smothered for a loss of a yard as Conlon back in the game along with Darryl Talley to make the stop.
Conlon really stuffed that play. Nobody touched him.
Gary Kubiak, who was drafted in that 1983 brilliant quarterback draft. He was picked 197 places after Elway was picked #1, and he was 183 after Jim Kelly picked 14th in '83.
He's in the shotgun now. This will be his first real shot in a passing situation to see if he can get the job done.
Oh my! It was Darryl Talley. And that was a tally.
Well, Kubiak wanted to throw a screen pass to his right. You'll see Sewell coming this way, and he'll want to set it up with a lineman coming to the outside, but he just didn't have time to get it off. Talley was going to be there, right up inside on a blitz, and there's not a chance.
Back to the 41-yard line. The loss brings up 3rd and 19. Kubiak trying to buy time and run it. Steps out of bounds where? They mark it at the 33-yard line. Not nearly enough, as he had 19 yards required on that 3rd down play.
That's a tough one. They purposely rolled him out to his left. And if you're rolling left and somebody's chasing you, it's really hard to throw a right-handed pass. You can't get your shoulders turned back to throw accurately.
Gained of 8, so it's 4th and 11. Dan Reeves is not going to punt the ball from the 33.
That mystifies me. Dan knows what he's doing. But just to punt Buffalo down into a hole and play defense might have been good enough.
8.5 minutes left in the game. Kubiak underneath to Michael Young. He's twisted forward at the 23-yard line. It's going to be very close, but I believe about a yard shy of a first down. Yes, first down Buffalo. They needed 11. They got 10. Buffalo with a 7-0 lead. 8:15 remaining. Of the Bills talk it over with 8:15 remaining. The offense on the field for Buffalo. Jim Kelly fans abound. Imagine what it's worth to Jim Kelly with his popularity already. If he should win the Super Bowl, it'd be worth millions, literally, in endorsements. He's never played well against Denver. 2-7 touchdowns and interceptions. And today, just an average day at best. Like pitchers and hitters, defenses and quarterbacks. Thurman Thomas caught in the backfield, may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage.
You'd have to say they've shut that play down. Now, Thurman has bounced it a couple times for 4 or 5 yards, but they are keying off Thomas and slanting that line in the direction that he goes and cutting that off. That time it looked like he wanted to cut back, and he couldn't even get that done.
Well, New England defensed Buffalo well this year, but no one shut out that offense of the Bills like the Denver Broncos. Underneath it goes to the tight end McKellar, a former small college basketball star who has a football project that's developed into a top-notch tight end. He caught 44 passes this year.
It's like a 4-year project. They started him out conveniently. He was on injured reserve to develop him from basketball. Second year they had him in a 47-man roster. Third year he alternated with Metzlars. Now he starts, and he's a pretty darn good player.
Big third down. Kelly gets it away in time to McKellar. First down at the Denver 47.
That's as close as it gets. Fletcher had a sack, and Kelly got away with it. Meanwhile, Mecklenburg is trying to cover McKellar. That's a tough job.
That's a big play on 3rd and 5, and Kelly showing his courage.
There's the shot from Fletcher.
Kelly knew it was coming. He has a linebacker mentality. Thomas, again, just a couple for the star runner of the Bills. Greg Cragen, the nose guard, making the tackle. And there's McKellar, who played at Jacksonville State of Alabama, Division II school, and they won the 1985 Division II basketball national championship over South Dakota State. He played in high school against Charles Barkley, so his education started early.
Well, only 2 years of football before becoming an NFL player. 1 in high school, 1 in college.
Out of the shotgun, Kelly steps up and hits Andre Reed, and Reed has really been stifled today. Hustles to a first down at the 35. Only his second catch.
Well, that took all of Kelly's talent to get that done, because he was pass rushed. He had to move up in between people and finally found Reed. Reed, I'll bet he looked at 2 other people before he even had an idea whether he could find Reed or not.
Chewing up time and getting into field goal range with a 7-0 lead, Thurman Thomas. And surging to the 30 when it appeared most backs would have lost or would have been hit 2 yards shy where Thomas went down. And John Elway painfully watching as a spectator that deep thigh bruise sidelining him in this 4th quarter. David Treadwell, if you weren't with us earlier, the place kicker of the Broncos, missed on 3 field goals that would have given Denver a lead at halftime. He missed from 47 to the left, and then he hit the right upright from 42 and then kissed it again from 37. Just inside the 30 will bring up 3rd down and about 4, and the clock runs down to the 5-minute mark.
I'm sure that Marv Levy is thinking 3 points right here. He doesn't want to lose the 3 points. The 3 points will win the ball game for him.
Scott Norwood, his place kicker, hit his longest career field goal this season, 52 yards.
Scott's been much maligned and in some cases justified, but as of a week ago he was pretty darn good.
3 for 3 against Kansas City. Thomas in a must-stop play for the Denver defense, and they do.
They're just thinking 3 points.
Greg Cragen and Warren Powers made the tackle, and here comes Norwood to try. Not a gimme field goal by any means. He's kicking into a wind, not the usual Buffalo storm that you might see in January. Boy, it's really been a January thaw day. Kickoff at around 42 degrees, still pleasant. This ball, as they take a timeout for Thurman Thomas, at the 27 will be a 44-yard attempt approximately. Thomas shaken once again, the second time in the game.
Well, they've given him a heck of a shellacking. He's a tough guy, but that Denver defense has really made him pay the price.
He, of course, will go home after the game and cheer for his close friend Barry Sanders of the Detroit Lions, who was a sophomore backup to Thomas when he started Oklahoma State. Marv Levy and Dan Reeves on these field goals are no more than any fan of the 80,000 here. Just hoping it goes through for Levy, and Reeves saying, miss and give my team a chance.
Just a fair year for Scott.
He was 1 for 6 at the end of the regular season, but then hit on all 3 against the Chiefs last week. So now we have a full timeout with 4:23 to go. Time remains in the 4th quarter. The Buffalo Bills looking for an immediate return to the Super Bowl, make amends after nearly beating the Giants last year. This man missing a 47-yard field goal on the final play that would have won it for Buffalo. This is a 44-yard try. Frank Reich to set it up. That would give what would seem almost an insurmountable 10-0 lead. It is good. Manufactured by the offense today, 44 yards off the foot of Norwood. That was a drive that began after Dan Reeves decided to go for it on 4th and 11, and the Bills took over at their own 24.
Well, Reeves, maybe prematurely, who would say he's a great football coach, but that going for it on 4th down and long yardage sort of cost him. If they could have just punted the ball inside the 10 or around the 10-yard line, it would have been a more worthy call. But he took a shot, barely missed, and now they're in a jam.
And a big play on that drive was that pass by Kelly, when just as he was hit to the tight end McKellar on 3rd down.
Yeah, Fletcher had him dead to rights, and he barely got the ball off. But that's championship football. It's that close.
Asked Kelly about making all those millions. He said, I just want to get on the Johnny Carson show. Norwood, or it's Del Riso, who kicks it into the goal line, and just to the 15 goes Derek Russell, well covered by the Bills. And remember, Denver used one of the timeouts to apparently ice Norwood. Our photos from Pennzoil Motor Oil from our helicopter providing some of the scenics leaving the Niagara Falls.
Well, you know, if Buffalo goes on to win, to be honest with you, it's got to be heartening for the NFC, because it appeared they had an almost unstoppable offense as of a week ago that would churn out 30 or 40 points. And now we're finding that a big hitting defense with a pair of safeties that can make the big plays can stop them or hold them down.
And now 80,000 voices, and referee Hamer comes in to whistle this play off as there was something thrown out onto the field. Golf ball or some small object. There it is. They'll play elect. Just deafening din. Oh, Kubiak squirts out of it and then slides safely at the 26-yard line. First down.
You know, you go the entire season not playing at all, and then you're in a championship game. You've got to give Kubiak every bit of credit.
A man who threw only 5 passes all season and now playing for a championship. And down the middle it goes to Vance Johnson. All the way to the 50-yard line before Leonard Smith and Kirby Jackson make the tackle, 23 yards.
Beautiful shot. Excellent pattern. The protection was there. This is what we thought we'd see the entire game. You see him crossing against the zone defense. Nobody covering him personally. And he caught the ball between defenders.
3:18 left in the fourth quarter. 10-0 Buffalo. Thunderous noise at Rich Stadium. Johnson again to the Buffalo 43, but with those short passes, the clock keeps going, and now it approaches and passes 3 minutes left.
The problem with this is Gary Kubiak hasn't been in on this kind of drill. It's been all John Elway in week-to-week preparation. So Kubiak has to go back to training camp to remind himself of these kinds of plays.
Veteran from Texas A&M to throw. And he sees the blitz and out of bounds. Do they? No, they will not give out of bounds. The hit made inbounds and the clock continues to run as Mark Jackson, who has been injured, activated today, has his first catch, playing with a fractured wrist. He wants him to down the ball to stop the clock. But thus far, that message hasn't been heard.
Precious seconds with Kubiak not being well versed in this, getting no work at it at all for months.
Lodish was into the line of scrimmage, and that will stop the clock.
They got their clock stopped. They got that done.
Defense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
There's a problem. Look at the ball real quickly here. See if it's moved. It moved and he goes.
See, that is one of the systems used with all the noise as a signal to center. When he moves it, then at the counts 2, everyone silently to themselves go 1001, 1002. So at least they have some semblance. It's a way of countering the tremendous advantage the home crowd gives the Bills. Dave Wydell, acquired from the Cowboys, is the backup center. Kubiak to Johnson, a diving catch. Does he have it? No. Time for one more play before the 2-minute timeout, and still 2 timeouts left for Denver.
Well, they're going to have to get in the end zone right away. That's pretty evident. He could have had it. Would have been a tough catch. Could have had it.
2nd and 10 for the Broncos.
But he's got to go down the field, Dick. He's got to go deep down the field now.
This is the 7th time Dan Reeves' team has gotten into Buffalo territory. No points. Where Clarks is to the goal line to the 11. Throwing for Young and Johnson. Did someone come up with it? Yes! In the crowd, Vance Johnson at the 10-yard line, and that is the 2-minute timeout. Comes at 1:53. Another of several spectacular catches today. Clifford Hicks on him. Look at that.
Great catch. Great catch.
Denver in scoring territory. 2 to go. Below. Our director John Gonzalez, producer John Paratzis with the shots. Buffalo leading 10-0. No touchdown scored by either offense today. But Kubiak has Denver at the 10. Wide open is Johnson. And he fights to get out of bounds and stops the clock at about the 2-yard line. James Earl Williams, the #1 pick of the Bills a year ago, made the tackle.
Williams made a beautiful tackle. He had one-on-one with a lot of room between both people. This is a heck of a tackle. Watch this, feet moving. Just does a nice job of keeping his balance. Often that would have been a touchdown with that receiver.
They spot it at the 3-yard line. They can make a first down without a touchdown. Draw to Kubiak, and the quarterback is at the goal line. And now touchdown is the call.
That was an excellent call. Nobody was there to stop it. They were all busy covering. Excellent call. Kubiak has done a great job. I don't think he'll retire now.
What a drive engineered by this backup Kubiak, the veteran.
Well, I tell you what, I think really John was hurting so bad trying to continue to play. and he was slowed to the point that he couldn't really function well, and maybe the move was made a little bit late.
Treadwell hits it down the middle on the extra point, and now as he goes to the sidelines, Dan Reeves and Treadwell must be thinking about those 3 missed field goals. Off the bench, Gary Kubiak playing more in this championship game than he did all season long, and delivering 8 for 9 for this 30-year-old who says he'll retire at the end of this season because of those back problems. 2 timeouts remaining for Denver, and Kubiak has just taken the Broncos 85 yards in 8 plays for the first touchdown by an offense today to make it 10-7. Now with 1 minute 43 seconds left, the onside kick. Treadwell has it teed up. Look at all those Broncos way about 20-yard run up to try to get some speed going and then time the kick so one of them could get to it. It's scramble, and Denver says they have it. Let's see.
Yes, Denver's got it. What a... Boy, did they execute that well. That whole group timed it just right to be crossing the line as the ball was kicked. Now, the timeout they used earlier, I bet they wish they had it back. Look how that's timed. And that third bounce of the ball is the one you're always working on, especially on this kind of surface. They got a shot.
Steve Atwater recovers at the Denver 49. So now a field goal would send this one into overtime, possibly, with 1:38 to go. Plays you practice from almost the first week of training camp. And Denver executes here for a championship. Super Bowl on the line. And a backup quarterback, Kubiak to Sewell. He fumbled the ball. And recovered by Buffalo. Sewell hit, and it appeared to be Darryl Talley was in on the play. No question about the fumble.
Did he catch it, Dick? I guess he did, didn't he? You'd be interested to see if they're going to examine this play, a championship game, whether they'll take a look. I guess not.
Kirby Jackson credited with a fumble recovery at the 44 of Buffalo, and now Kelly will just protect that ball. Kenneth Davis behind him. Denver undoubtedly to spend the 2 timeouts. And this is hitting right to the game's end. That was Atwater. Timeout, but only 1 remains for the Broncos.
Well, Sewell was thinking of running before he really had the ball. It's just one of those unfortunate things, but a great game, Dick. A great championship game. In a sense, some loosely played execution-wise, but the intensity of this ball game has been magnificent.
And for a fan, and this is, I know Buffalo fans, that was a great play, and for Denver, a disastrous play. For fans, it denied Kubiak the chance at the Elway kind of drama, the backup announcing his retirement, coming into the game, and perhaps giving his team a chance. It would have been interesting without that fumble if Kubiak could have positioned them for a field goal to tie it. But that aside, Buffalo's defense, if they win today, will have won it. Hard to believe that the #1 scoring touchdown, Washington scored more points, scored more touchdowns, the #1 offense in the league, Buffalo shut out other than a field goal. The touchdown coming on Bailey's interception, the linebacker of the Bills. Davis trying to force the fumble. They have their final timeout called. Nope, haven't called it yet. Clock is still running. So Dave Treadwell, who had 3 chances and fumbled by Sewell, obviously in a very emotional state as his teammates try to rally him.
Well, they came close to pulling it out. They really did. That onside kick, they were in excellent field position. Just one more, about 15 yards more. If they could have eaten it up, they'd have had their 3 points.
82,272, and they're all standing here at Rich Stadium. The final minute of play. Davis smothered right at the 50, and now Denver calls its final timeout with 29 seconds left, and the Bills apparently will have to punt. We'll take this timeout.
I like it. It's just the enthusiasm of this area for this team, the loyalty when the team wasn't doing well.
You'd have to go to Denver to see something like it. Here's the punt as they go after Moore, but he gets it away beautifully. No one back for Denver. And it rolls into the end zone. And clock stops with 17 seconds. We'll have a complete post-game report for you. The Old Spice gang will be there with both locker rooms, the comments. There'll be some highs and lows again. And Denver now with only some desperate chances as Bill Parcells warms up his vocal cords. 10-7. Denver's defense was true. Many criticized it a soft schedule. They proved to the NFL today that this was one of the best defenses in football. And Buffalo, enough character.
I think the injury to Elway and then Elway continuing to play in a limited way really cost Denver.
Kubiak
got to get it down the field, throw it.
And out of bounds quickly goes Michael Young, but that won't do it. And Kubiak hit as he throws, gets up slowly. 8 seconds left.
Well, they're trying to get well outside along the sideline and then throw the ball, but he's really not making it. He may have a right-handed problem here.
And of course, he doesn't have the strength of arm of Elway. I mean, they're here where you're so desperate.
He looks like it's his right hand. You just got to get the ball up now, get well down the field. First the last play.
Downfield to Johnson, but he's in the field of play, and that will do it. Buffalo Bills return to the Super Bowl. Terrific football game, wasn't it?
It was a great game, and the lack of execution, the misplays, demonstrated the intensity of the game. People got unraveled. They couldn't even think clearly with the pressure on both clubs. So I think both defenses played beautifully, and I think Kubiak did a fine job. Again, I say the Elway's injury and then his continuing to play really damaged Denver's chances.
You saw Carlton Bailey was in the right place at the right time for that deflection by teammate Jeff Wright on a middle screen and ran in 13 yards for the only Buffalo touchdown that was the difference in the game today. 3 missed field goals by Treadwell will be digested with considerable difficulty in the Mile High City. And Scott Norwood hitting on his only chance, 44 yards to win it 10-7.
You know, when you talk the Super Bowl, this may help the Bills. They'll be that much more intensely involved. They're certainly not going to be overconfident going into the Super Bowl.